Months passed. The Voldemort Empire spread like roots beneath the soil, quiet, far-reaching, unstoppable. From her obsidian palace, Hermione ruled as the Bright Flame Queen, a title whispered with awe and fear. She no longer needed a wand. Her aura itself manipulated magic, her words laced with ancient spells. Where she walked, spells stirred, cities bowed. She rewrote magical law, ending slavery, outlawing blood purity, offers education to every witch and wizard, no matter their origin. But her rule was absolute. Loyalty wasn't asked, it was required. Mercy, once her guiding virtue, had become a relic of her past. Compassion, she now believed, was a doorway to weakness, and weakness destroyed empires. Yet doubt crept like a virus. Inside the palace, a faction formed, the Worm Circle, old believers who thought the Queen had betrayed Voldemort's raw vision. They plotted quietly, crafting enchanted knives and memory poisons, cloaked in secrecy. But Hermione saw it all. She had built the Silent Watch, a psychic web of seers and cursed mirrors that scanned for treachery. The moment the Worm Circle made their move during a thunderstorm, she was waiting. Barefoot, unarmed, she stood in her throne hall as they descended. "You think I don't feel betrayal?" she asked, voice like flame. With a gesture, she bound them in collapsing gravity. Then came her own invention, truth binding, a spell that forced them to relive the lies they told themselves. Their illusions shattered, their magic cracked. She spared their lives, but stripped their minds. They became the glass-bound, hollowed beings who wandered the palace as warnings. Even Laziel, her closest advisor and most trusted confidant, recoiled. "You didn't just punish them," he whispered. "You destroyed who they were." Hermione's face didn't waver. Better hollow than treacherous. Laziel had become more than a voice of reason. He was the only one who challenged her, grounding her in debates and daring honesty. Their connection ran deep, built not on love, but on mutual power and dangerous trust. But now even he feared the path she walked. He had once seen brilliance in her. Now he feared he saw a storm dressed as a queen. And though he had once called her savior, now he began to wonder if he stood beside a tyrant. Outside, resistance grew. Ron and Arlen spread coded messages along borderlands, helping Empire defectors escape and planting seeds of hope. Ron still believed Hermione could be saved. Arlen, ever the realist, warned him, "She doesn't wield power, she is power now." Ron didn't sleep anymore. He reread their old letters, kept her old notes from Hogwarts. Each word stung deeper than the last. "She's not lost," he whispered. "She's buried." Beyond the fold, the Unity Accord, a coalition of magical nations, struck with cursed relics and dimensional rifts. In reply, Hermione forged the Fold, a sentient wall of magic, breathing and deadly. Anyone crossing without invitation vanished from memory. Entire scouting parties were erased as if they had never lived. And still, one final attempt to reach her came. Harry Potter, now underground resistance leader, enlisted Draco Malfoy to develop a spell powered by memory and anchored by Hermione's old wand, still kept by Ron. They imbued it with moments of their friendship, first laughs, shared fears, late-night study sessions. Then they launched it into the Empire. When it struck her during a summit, she collapsed. Visions flooding her mind. Hogwarts in winter, Ron's smile, Harry's promise at the tent. For one haunting second, Queen Noctis disappeared, and Hermione Granger returned. But rebellion flared inside the palace, triggered by her brief weakness. Dozens died. Her moment of vulnerability had cost lives. But when she sat alone in the highest tower of her palace, surrounded by infinite silence, a flicker of doubt crept in. For a second, her hand trembled. Ron wept when he heard. "She's gone," but Harry disagreed. A prophecy had resurfaced. When the bright flame casts no shadow, fire shall rule the sky, but only truth can cool it. He believed that truth, the deepest one, still lived inside her. Now the world stands on a blade. On one side, the Queen of Flame, unstoppable, untouched. On the other, those who once called her friend. And at the center, a soul torn between power and memory, walking the line between salvation and ruin. The war to come would not only shape the fate of magic, but determine whether love, once lost, can ever be resurrected.
After Voldemort's defeat, the wizarding world hailed Hermione Granger as a war hero. Alongside Harry and Ron, she helped rebuild the Ministry and reform broken laws. But Hermione soon realized that real change came painfully slowly. Corruption lingered, old bloodlines clung to power, and many resisted the very reforms she had fought for. While Harry found peace-training Aurors and Ron returned to the family joke shop, Hermione grew restless, disillusioned by politics, bureaucracy, and endless compromise. During a diplomatic mission to Eastern Europe, she met 3 enigmatic wizards, Nyx, Virion, and Silas, who introduced her to the Voldemort Empire, a hidden magical force built not on hate, but on order and discipline. They believed in strength and intellect over bloodlines, and saw Hermione as their prophesied queen. At first she rejected them, but the idea haunted her. The Empire promised control, clarity, and transformation. She returned to London changed. He pleaded with her to stay, to trust the friends who loved her. "You're not alone," he said. She replied only, "Maybe that's the problem." Harry, suspicious, followed her through one of the magical portals and found secret meetings, forbidden spells, and Hermione embracing the Empire's ideology. "I'm not joining them," she told him. Within the Empire, structured, vast, and terrifyingly efficient, Hermione trained in advanced magic, mind control, lost enchantments, even time-based sorcery. Her knowledge deepened, her power grew. She emerged not as a follower, but as Queen Noctis Granger, ruler of the Empire, master of knowledge, and one of the most powerful witches in history. From afar, Ron and Harry watched in horror. Her name echoed through the magical world. Institutions collapsed under her influence. Wizarding towns pledged loyalty. She abolished blood discrimination and class barriers, and established magical education centers across continents. But dissenters vanished, spies were erased from memory. Loyalty was law. When Ron finally found her during a secret mission in Prague, he begged her to return. She simply said, "I've seen what this world becomes without control. I won't let it fall again," and disappeared. Devastated, Ron remained near the Empire's border, where he met Arlen, a magical engineer who believed in Hermione's vision, but questioned her methods. The two found solace and love in exile. Ron never stopped caring for Hermione, but he no longer believed he could save her. Harry tried one last time. He created a memory charm filled with their childhood, the laughter, the Horcrux hunts, the bond they once shared, and sent it hidden in a book. When Hermione opened it, the memories flooded in. Then she burned the book. Eventually, the wizarding world fractured. The West held on to Hogwarts and the Ministry. The East pledged loyalty to the Empire. Hermione ruled absolutely, not with cruelty, but with cold certainty. Her laws brought order, her schools raised the poor. Magical slavery ended, but love, freedom, and warmth were left behind. In a final summit, she stood face to face with Harry. "We were supposed to do this together," he said. "We tried," she answered softly. "And we failed. Now I win." And she did. No ruler had ever wielded such power with such intellect. Spells bent to her will. Cities followed her like a messiah. Some called her savior, others tyrant. But all agreed. Hermione Granger, once the brightest witch of her age, had become the bright flame queen, a legend born not of prophecy, but of sheer conviction. Far away, Ron lived quietly with Arlen watching the stars. Harry returned to Hogwarts, training young Aurors in strength, loss, and choice. And in the heart of the Empire, Hermione ruled from a black marble throne, watching the world, not with hatred, but with unshakable certainty. She had changed everything, at the cost of everything.
The world had never known silence like this before. The skies above the Voldemort Empire hung in endless dusk. Magic was so dense it choked the air. On the edge of that cursed land stood the Accord of Ashes, a last alliance of wizards, magical beings, and forgotten powers. Their only hope, to end Queen Hermione Granger, the most powerful sorceress the world had ever seen. But Hermione was already at war with herself. She had killed Laziel, the man who had manipulated her rise. His final act was a curse. He had bound her soul to the Empire. If it fell, so would she. Every spell she cast, every law she enforced, tied her deeper to its existence. Yet even now her heart had not turned to stone. She had decided, if she could not break the curse, she would carry it away from the world. Ron reached her before the war began. Worn by battle, steadied by pain, he still loved her. He had found healing in Arlen, the elven strategist. but part of his heart remained hers. When they met at the gates, Hermione whispered, "You should have let me go." "I never could," Ron said. She kissed him once, soft and mournful. No promises, just pain and memory. Then the sky split open. The final war began. Harry, mounted on a phoenix-backed hippogriff, led the charge. Centaurs unleashed starfire arrows. The dead rose from enchanted portraits to join the living. Across a fractured realm, time and space tore, aging warriors in seconds, undoing entire spells in an instant. Inside the capital, Hermione stood on her fortress balcony and did the unthinkable. She released her army. "No more oaths," she said. "Fight because you believe, not because I command you." Many fled, some stayed. Those who remained did so not as soldiers, but as believers. The Empire was trembling under the weight of something it had never known: freedom. But its darkest secret awakened. The Eclipse engine, Laziel's buried weapon, came alive. It was not a machine, but a magical wound, a cursed core powered by Hermione's soul. It summoned every nightmare Voldemort had left behind. Shades of Death Eaters, deformed relics, and a monstrous echo of Voldemort himself rose, twisted by time and rage. The sky turned black with fire. Time fractured, magic distorted. Spells reversed, minds broke. Arlen gave his life to disable the Citadel Eye, the engine's nerve. Neville Longbottom fell while planting the final explosive rune. Luna Lovegood, surrounded by spirits, whispered a lullaby and vanished in silver light, trapping 3 soul fiends in an eternal dream. Then came the final test. Mirror Hermione, born of Laziel's curse, emerged, a version of Hermione without soul or doubt. They fought across illusion and memory. Mirror Hermione conjured visions of Ron dying, Harry turning away, her parents lost to fog. But Hermione had learned she no longer feared herself. She turned love into a weapon, loyalty into fire, grief into shield. She embraced Mirror Hermione, whispering, "I know who I am," and shattered her with understanding. But the Empire still pulsed. Harry and Ron reached her in the throne room's ruins. The Eclipse engine, wounded but wild, neared collapse. "It's not over," Hermione said, glowing with unstable magic. "It lives through me. I must take it away." "There's always another way," Harry pleaded. Ron took her hand. "You're not alone." "You never were." She looked at him, tears in her eyes. "That's why I must, because you deserve peace." She reached into the Empire's core, drew its black flame into herself, and cast a spell older than the Founders, a sealing of all darkness into one vessel. "I'll live," she said, "but not among you." She kissed Ron's hand one last time and vanished, light and sorrow bound together. All that remained was her crown, her wand, and a note. "I'm not lost. I'm guarding the last shadow." Years later, a monument stands where the forbidden forest meets the stars. A silver flame burns, untouched by wind. Children ask who it honors. The professors say, the brightest witch of her age. Harry, now headmaster, keeps her wand in his office. When it's quiet, it hums softly, as if she's still there. Ron visits once a year. He leaves a lily and whispers, "I hope you're warm." And far beyond light or dark, Hermione Granger walks a world of memory and silence, not as queen or prisoner, but as the last flame, eternal, unseen, undefeated. She's not gone. She is guarding us still.